Hello, hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. These are all the cards that I pulled this morning in order to reshuffle them all again. We had the genie card with the genie lamp. In case you're new, these are cards that I made. They're all in different stages, and I've been working on these since probably 2020-ish. I had a 2-year break, and then I also had a few of these actually taken. Well, I don't know if they were taken or if they were actually just left behind in that studio that I've spoken about often. Anywho, we've got the orchid. This is super light. I know you can't really see it. A gift. It's not for a birthday, but there is some kind of gift. With a little bit of work, you can get these wishes granted, these gifts of connecting all the dots and adding the color. It's been a long time coming, that's for sure. All coming together in formation. This is the formation card. Everybody knows their place, right? It's just kind of instinctual about where you are in this whole arrangement. Ghosts and ghouls, ancestors, people from the past. With a delivery. Recidivism, heading back to jail. Making the same mistake over and over and over again. And this is for generations that they've been doing this. They use it, they do it through love relationships. And they tend to do the work during the new moon. In case you don't know, crows, they remember people. They remember who was nice and who was not nice to them, and then they keep sharing it with their offspring on who that was. 17 generations of offspring. They share the information to make sure that the next generation knows to stay away from people, or maybe even to poop on their car. I don't know. But you're not going to hide anything from crows. The crows knows. Which is really interesting because, as you know, this is the channel where I talk about, it's kind of like a diary. As I said, it's a diary of my artwork, and I tell stories through them. So, as I've mentioned before, I had a coworker. She was an assistant manager who was new, and the day I think she started, or the week that she had started, there was a crow that got into the building. Now, mind you, in all the years that I had worked there was never any issues like that before, but all of a sudden when she arrives, this crow's there, and I'm leaving water for the crow, and I'm talking to the crow because I just do little crow calls. I've always been a little bit like that. Anyhow, I care about the animals. I was trying to open the door and show the crow the way out because I know they're smart. And she says, well, we're just going to have to hold the crow in here until morning so animal control to come and let him out. By the time I got to work the next day, the crow was already let out. But when we were leaving that night, she was tapping on the glass and she was mouthing something to the crow, which I thought was really interesting. And I just kind of looked at her. I didn't ask her anything about it. I just watched her do it. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Anywho, later to find out that there had been people who I worked with who were very much into spell work. And later down the line, I ended up putting all these different pieces together about what could have been going on. Granted, it's all alleged. So the part that's so interesting is the fact that I've always been very friendly with crows. And so if crows remember people and they share the information, then their crow family all know that I'm a nice person and I always leave water and, I give them food or little pieces here and there. So I don't know how all that works. Okay. A little bit tired. I was up at 5 o'clock this morning. Gotta love that. Bottom of the deck, we've got a pickle. Someone has found themselves in a pickle. Maybe someone's hiding a pickle, or maybe someone is hung like a pickle. Who knows? We've got a butterfly, evolution, transformation. This butterfly has already gone through their cocoon stage. They've evolved. Cycle of life. We've got this spider web. Now, if this butterfly gets tangled in that spider web, that would be pretty sad for the butterfly, right? The spider web could be setting up some kind of trap for this butterfly to fly into, and that would probably be the pickle kind of situation. Mind you, what is chaos for the butterfly is just another day for the spider, right? You can't fault a spider for doing what it was designed to do. We've got the evil eye here. A little bit of jealousy going on. Envy. Transmutation. Someone is transmuting this evil eye. All right. That's interesting. How many times am I going to say that? Front of the deck, we've got salt and pepper shakers. Adding salt to a wound, perhaps. Maybe the interaction or the fact that someone can transmute something is causing a little bit salt in a wound for someone else who probably is not able to do those kinds of things. Maybe they like to hold on to anger. Maybe they hang on to jealousy. Maybe they hang on to pain because they don't know what life would be like without it. Maybe they were raised that way. I don't know, but someone's kind of salty. Someone didn't do their due diligence before this whole scenario either. And I'm saying that because I've mentioned this in previous reads. There was a guy who took another guy to lunch for an interview, and the one that was being interviewed received his food and automatically reached for the salt and started salting his food, peppering his food without even tasting it first. Needless to say, that guy who was being interviewed didn't get the job because he never even tasted his food first to see if it even needed seasoning. What if it was already seasoned according to how he probably would have liked it, and now he just ruined the whole dish? You know what I mean? We've got court here. There could be someone who's seasoned in court. There could be we've got tooth. Having deep roots, in case you didn't know, having deep roots in your mouth indicates that someone has deep emotional pains that they have not dealt with. So that's really important. Could also have to do with someone's teeth. Maybe someone needs a game plan in order to take care of their teeth. Someone's playing with, they're making a very serious decision here to play with chance. Attachment. This is one of the cards that was left behind in that studio. We've got a hospital. Waiting. Maybe someone has a DEATH wish that's attached to them. Maybe someone's waiting for someone to have to go to the hospital. Maybe someone has a SUIDIAL attachment that's sending them to the hospital, but it's all an illusion. For anyone who's listening or is having thoughts like that, here's my theory. Number one, first of all, don't make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions, okay? Anything that's being gone through right now, even if it seems like you've been going through it for a while, is going to change. It's just the cycle. It's just the nature of things. It's going to change. Okay. Number two, it is my theory that if there is such a thing as past lives and reincarnation and coming back to have to come to planet to learn or um, evolve, so to speak, to be a better version of who we were the last time, then if somebody does something like this, you just have to come back and do it again. You don't get to leave. You don't get to have just be done with it already. You don't get to be done until you learn the lesson or you learn the way that you're supposed to be able to live spiritually. You know what I mean? So it's like, why would you make a permanent decision like that when your game has to start over, so to speak? Whatever it is that you do in this lifetime is in the next lifetime, that's where you begin again. Right? And if you decide that you're not going to do it anymore in this lifetime, then guess what? You get to come back to another family that you're choosing in order to decide how you're going to be treated in life so you can learn the lessons that you needed to learn, or learn the skills, or learn the message, or learn the evolution of. Just my opinion. It's what I've come up with. That's the thing that makes sense to me. So, waiting, illusion, puppet master, someone's pulling the strings. Maybe someone is illusioned. We've got pop coming out underneath the court. Maybe someone's going to pop up in court. Maybe it's from somebody who calls soda pop. Got the number 5, the number of change. A change in wisdom. A bridge. Crossing that bridge. We've got a monster. This monster was put together by somebody. This is our little Frankenstein. Frankenstein was put together by all these different parts and pieces of all these other, wherever he got the materials from. He put this together, he sewed it up, he made a living being out of parts. And everyone who came across this monster, because the monster was so different than everybody else, and nobody could understand what he actually was and how he was even alive or surviving, now they're looking at him all different. When in the show, you find out that Frankenstein was really just a nice person. It's like, oh, I just scared those people again. That's just so sad. Maybe someone's being seen as a monster now, for whatever it is. If someone had put some kind of attachment onto somebody to send them to the hospital that they were waiting for it to happen, maybe people are saying, you know what, all these little things that you've been doing and causing and arranging and, you're just a monster. You're trying to hide something that was done. The comb over. Maybe someone intentionally tried to shave some parts, intentionally tried to clear the way, and then cover it up like it wasn't even made that way. That's the long and short of it. We've got bloom, someone getting their flowers. Is this broken? Sure is. I need a new sleeve. Someone was trying to hide the fact that someone was getting their flowers, just like I was supposed to be promoted at my job and then I went on leave of absence. That's confirmation. We've got resurrection here, more flowers. This is in honor of those 32,000-year-old seeds that they found in the ice. In the ice caps. I guess there was a squirrel who buried them 32,000 years ago. Now, mind you, squirrels have been alive for 32,000 years. And sometimes the squirrels will bury so many nuts every places that's how we end up getting new trees. They bury the seeds. That's how we end up getting more plants germinated and stuff like that. The squirrel was just burying his seeds away and didn't even realize that he was going to be repopulating. Just doing what he does. Got a life preserver here. Maybe someone who has an intention of trying to throw someone a line might be coming back to do it again because now they probably, something blew the surface. Something got cracked open. Maybe it got cracked open in court. This illusion got cracked open. Belly rub. Somebody's super vulnerable now that this change is taking place. The Statue of Liberty was a gift from France. It could involve someone from France or New York. The statue came over in two parts. It was the Lady Liberty and then the foundation. It was a very expensive gift, and it was a very expensive project to have it sent over. She changed over time, her coloring. She wasn't always green. Empty dog bowl. Someone is empty and seen as a monster. They don't have anyone to fill their bowl. And then we've got the pit bull coming in right after. Isn't that interesting? Pit bulls get a bad rap. People assume that pit bulls are a nightmare dog or a scary dog, and it's the owner who trains them to be however they are. So many pit bulls are just lost because they're used as bait dogs. On that no public service announcement, don't ever give your dogs or animals away for free. People will send in nice families. They'll pay nice families. Oh, they'll probably tell the family, hey, could you go get this dog? For us, we'll pay you $200 to go pick up this dog. All you have to do is pretend like you want to give it a good home. They go in, see the people, play the part that they want this dog, leave, and they get their $200. And the people who are paying them get a bait dog or a dog for training other dogs to fight. Sad but true story. So please be mindful. If you can find a rescue, if you have to rehome an animal or something of that nature, find a rescue. A trustworthy rescue, please. Poison, pirate, not a good situation. A vulnerable gift, an empty dog bowl, filling the food, the dog. Someone's going to need a life preserver. Waiting for someone to go to the hospital. Someone is a monster. Sending someone over the bridge. Giving someone flowers, maybe flowers of condolences. I don't know if the dog is a literal case in this or if it is the sense of loyalty. Maybe they're loyal to a fault. I'm also seeing that maybe someone is trying to do this to somebody's dog food. Be mindful of that. These are things that you would already have a sense of, you guys. We have the Statue of Liberty here in the center, the life of, the pursuit of a life what is it called? Life, pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, something like that. You've got the sacral chakra energy, which is where your creative forces come from, your actual tendencies, your creation, your motivation, all comes from that nature. Maybe that's being resurrected for somebody. It's being brought back. Facing your fears with love. And then we've got the white skate fish. These came out together. This is a little dog who's giving this big old dog that he's afraid of a big old kiss. I'm afraid of you, but I'm going to give you love anyway. That's important. Then we have the white skate fish, which is kind of like a stingray, and they use the volcanic vents in order to incubate their eggs. So they totally use a resource that's already there. They use it to their advantage. So maybe facing your fears with love and showing love to the people that you might be afraid of is a resource that can be leaning to your own advantage. If you're already naturally like that, it's going to work in your favor. Maybe that's what the lifeline is. Maybe it's obvious that that's just who you are, at the core of who you are. And maybe there's some kind of court case and it's been exposed that that's who you are. We've got bangs, instant regret. Someone's an instant regret. And I say that because every time I cut bangs, I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. Like even tonight, I was just thinking, oh, wow, those bangs look really cute on that girl. I remember when I had bangs, that's super cute haircut. And I'm like, don't do it. You'll instantly regret it. Like I always do. We've got paint here. Someone's trying to paint some kind of picture. Someone could be watching paint dry, kind of like they're just waiting there, adding color to a situation where we had the activity book at the beginning about adding color and connecting the dots. A layer of protection or an update. Someone could be getting an update. Maybe they're getting an update from France and New York, or New York's updating France, right? They're trying to connect those two parts of the world together. We've got success here. Maybe that's the update. Maybe someone's in instant regret because someone got an update of success. Raccoon, another thieving card. Trickery. Blood, sweat, and tears. That raccoon's working hard to gather those things. Liquid, scavenging for liquids. That's under the poison card. We got rolling stone. Something's rolling out of control. It's also someone who's a little bit promiscuous. Papa was a rolling stone, or also could be a music group. Something's getting out of hand. These little yo-yo games are getting out of hand. But it also takes practice to do a yo-yo. We've got a frother trying to make things a little bit bigger than they need to be. Isn't it something how you froth it up and it tastes better than if you just kind of pour it in? Changes the consistency. We've got a witch's hat. Maybe someone's trying to do spell work bigger and better now. Maybe it got out of hand when they were doing it. We've got the vampire bat. If you're in a bad situation with a vampire bat and it's super hungry. But this is actually the connection between the spirit realm and the human realm. Intuition, sensitivity, highly social, trust your inner voice and instincts. In Chinese culture, it is a symbol of good fortune, happiness, longevity, and represents the 5 blessings: health, wealth, long life, mutual, and peace. We've got an empty toolbox and storage. Someone's trying to store all their belongings, storing their thoughts, storing their tools, maybe, even though they don't have any. They're a little bit emotionally immature, or their EQ is a little bit low. Someone's paying a price for hanging on to all that. Like we were saying in the beginning about that emotional pain. Storage is catacorder to those shakers. Maybe those memories have been around for quite some time, like salt and pepper hair. Those memories has grown with someone. Maybe that someone has salt and pepper hair. We've got the Rolling Stone catacorder to that waiting dog, which is polar opposites, for Pete's sake. Maybe the dog is sitting here waiting for it to completely roll out of control, so that way it can go ahead and just pop once it hits the bottom of the hill. Eventually it has to stop. So the dog just sits there and waits for his little treat bowl. Nothing wrong with that. We have Dr. Jekyll rodeo. It's not their first rodeo. The warrior, the one that's doing all this fighting and warring warrior stuff as she's sleeping. She has no idea she's even a part of it. She sleeps through the night, but her spirit is off fighting wars. Finish line. Maybe she'll be able to sleep nice and calmly and quietly and get a good rest. She does this every lifetime. Maybe when she's asleep, she turns into a Dr. Jekyll. Her spirit does. Truly becomes a warrior. Or maybe people see her as being a Dr. Jekyll because they just don't understand her. Or him. But this is finished. The whole competition is over. Whatever she's been training for, she's crossed the finish line. Tulips and virus. 6, and the last one is facial hair. And I'm going to go with surrender because it's here. So we've got the tulips, and I don't know if you've ever noticed that if you take too many leaves off of the tulips, then the tulips bend down and then they don't have any support. So this person, whoever's this warrior is having to fight against, or this monster who's doing all this stuff, is losing all of their supports. Maybe they're being seen as a virus. Maybe what they said and did was like a virus. Like it just made people sick. And there's a growing need for this individual to surrender. But we've been saying that for weeks now, right? I think it's interesting that we can have so many of the different cards and it all says the same story. I think I'm going to end it there, folks, and not do the word cards, just because, as I said, I've been up since 5 this morning. We had 5 on the table, which was interesting. I do want to say thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. Make it a great day. There's something in every day that can be making it a great day. You know what I mean? You just have to find it. And it's up to you. Only you can make yourself happy. No one's going to be able to do that for you. There's people who've got multi-million dollars. There's people who have tons of different companies. They live in the house that they've always wanted, driving the car they've always wanted, and they're still miserable people. Those people who have all those things and still find themselves being miserable and they don't understand why they're miserable, it's because they haven't chosen to find something happy in that day. I can only assume. But there's definitely something missing if they're sad, right? Because if you no longer have the burden of having to come up with the finances to cover your expenses, even though they say that people who have those kinds of homes and cars and companies and whatnot, they're still living paycheck to paycheck in some cases because that's just how most people are. So it doesn't matter what level they're at, they are still in the same situation. So maybe they are struggling. I don't know. But for those people who are not struggling and they just have a whim or whatever, they can just go treat the house for dinner or pay for everyone's drinks on the house, and they're still miserable at night when they close their eyes. It's because they haven't worked on those deep emotional issues that they have. You need to work on them. You need to face them. You need to forgive them. You need to fill your toolbox on how to maneuver through those. You got to surrender to them. And if you can, forgive those individuals. And because forgiveness is more for yourself than it is for the other person. My mom used to tell me, she told me it once, not used to, but she told me this once because it was one time, it was a situation. My mom used to say, because I had a little argument with somebody and I was upset that they would even hurt me or, do or say whatever it was that they said. I said, they really hurt me. She goes, well, did you tell them exactly how you feel about it? And I said, no, they should know. She goes, they're probably not even thinking about it because they don't even know that you're hurt. So why are you going to waste your energy being hurt if you haven't even talked to the person about it and told them how you felt? They're not even thinking about it. It's a waste of energy. I was like, wow, that's really true. I'm burning up all my own energy being upset about something that somebody did, and they probably don't even realize that I feel this way. Right? So you have to choose. Choose to do the work and choose to find something happy in every day. And eventually you'll be that person that you walk around happy all day long and people look at you like you're nuts. With that being said, folks, I really do hope something great happens for you today. Take care and make it great. Thank you for being here. Now if I can get this off without it falling down. Hi to everybody who said hello. I don't ever see the comments until now. Bye.